Hi everyone, it's Helene at Greek Mommy Cooks. Today is the Christmas season and we're making Greek traditional Christmas cookies called Kourambiethes. These are a wonderful Greek cookie filled with lots of butter, lots of powdered sugar, a little hint of clove, and some ground almond. They are a Christmas favorite in Greece and all around the world. I grew up with these cookies in the kitchen. The smell of clove and butter and sugar in the oven of my mom and my yaya bring back a lot of childhood memories. So let's get started. I have 4 sticks of butter in here. That's a lot of butter. And you need to whip the butter for 20 minutes. And at the same time, you're going to be adding 1 cup of powdered sugar. This is a really important part of making Kourambiethes cookies because the butter and the sugar has to be very light and fluffy. That's super important. You can't skimp on that. And your butter should be room temperature before you put it in here, otherwise it's gonna fly out of the mixer. So now that the butter is whipped up light and fluffy, we're going to add 2 egg yolks. We're gonna whip those up, and we're definitely gonna add some brandy, 1 tablespoon, and also some vanilla, 1 tablespoon of vanilla. It gives it such a nice rich flavor. Get that whipped up in there good. Now that this is mixed up, we are going to fold in some roasted almonds. I want to talk about the almonds for a little bit. I had raw almonds and I roasted them in the oven yesterday with a little olive oil and cinnamon. And that gives the cookie a nice crunchy texture. So this is about 1 1/4 cups of roasted almonds. If you have an allergy, you don't have to add them. You can just have them be plain. Now I'm adding the flour. This is really an important step because you have to just kind of wait and see. The recipe says 4 cups of flour. Sometimes it's 4 1/2, sometimes it's 5, sometimes it's a little less. So add it gradually and see that your cookie dough is sticky but not sticking to your hands. It's super important to take your time on this step. So now that I've added the flour, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of baking powder. I also need a teaspoon of the baking soda, not too much because I never like to give my cookies a salty flavor. 1 teaspoon of ground clove. Don't go crazy on this because if you make your cookies too spicy, there's no turning back. Although it smells fantastic. So let that mix for a little bit. Okay, now it's getting to the consistency that I want. So I did end up using 4 cups of flour, and I have dough that is nice and it's going to be easy to roll into a crescent. The next step is to shape your dough into crescent shapes. But it gives it a nice classic look. You can also roll them into little balls too, but I prefer the traditional crescent shape. So you just take a little bunch of dough, roll it in your hand, and then you're going to shape it just like a little crescent right on your tray. Here, I'll show you another one so you can see how easy it is. Just a little bit of dough. The texture is really good. I'm super happy with the way it turned out. And make it into a little crescent. And like I said, if you would prefer just to roll it into a simple ball, if you're in a rush and don't have as much time, you can do that too. Next step is to put them in the oven and bake them on 350 degrees for 20 minutes. And then there's a whole nother step that's fun with dusting them with powdered sugar next. Now that I've let the cookies cool down, I've taken them out of the oven and I put them on my cooling tray. And I have these little cups that I'm gonna put them in for the fun part, which is the dusting. And I have ouzo to splash on the cookies to get the powdered sugar to stick. So I'm just gonna splash them and say, "Opa!" So it's kind of like a fun little thing you can do. You just need a little bit. And if you need to skip this part because you don't like the flavor of ouzo, that's fine too. So I have my powdered sugar and I have a sifter and I'm gonna go over the cookies lightly. I have down on my countertops a piece of paper so that my counters are a little bit less messy. My mother-in-law suggested this and I do this every time. It's great for baking and cooking. And once you're done with that, you can pick up your cookie and see how nice it looks inside and have it with your coffee and enjoy your Christmas cookie. Thanks so much for watching today at Greek Mommy Cooks.